USA is not over just yet.
Woohoo! USA! USA!
We have an action-packed hour for you 6 p.m. drivers.
Would I rather be feared or loved? Easy, both. I want people to be afraid of how much they love me.
Matt Skraby wraps up a full day of live and local sports talk.
And that is the whole problem with aliens. You just can't trust them. Occasionally you meet a nice one, but usually they turn out to be some kind of big lizard.
The Skraby Show starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
Here's the pitch. And that's it in the air to deep left field. Did he do it again? Oh boy, did he! Third balcony Western medal. And the Padres have gone slam Diego against the Nats.
Welcome into the Skraby Show for June 26, 2024, and I am very excited to be here talking about a really exciting Padres week, and we're going to talk about Kyle Higashioka here in this first segment because he deserves to be mentioned, and he deserves to be mentioned a lot. In the second segment, we're actually going to go, it's kind of like a Jerks and Profar celebration segment, and we're going to do like the Chronicles of Jerks and Profar. Well, I have gone back and I have got every single one of his home run calls. I have no idea how it's going to go. I always preface it with that, but we're going to see how it goes. I kind of sort of scripted it out, not really, but we're going to see how that goes. And then at the end of the show, Daily Gripe. Everybody knows about that. And it's been a while since I've talked to everyone. It's been let's see. The last time I had a show was 2 weeks ago on that Thursday. So tomorrow night I have another Skraby show from 6 to 7, and it's going to be on that. It's going to be 2 weeks from the last time I did it. And you know, thankfully, the deities, the baseball deities, have given us a lot of positive things to talk about, and thankfully, I don't even have to address the last East Coast road trip. So that is why I'm happy I was off for 2 weeks, because I didn't have to talk about what happened on that last road trip at all. But a 6-1 homestand for the Padres, a sweep of the Nationals. This is a completely different team. I mean, the Brewers are a good team. They're leading their division. And I think the Nationals are a better team than people are giving them credit for. They were right there. I mean, they win that game on Tuesday night? They win that one, then we're at 500, or if they won Monday's game, I always get those confused. But they're at some point in this series, they were able to get to 500. So the Nationals are not a bad team either, and Hunter Harvey is a pretty good closer for the Nationals, and the Padres were able to erase a 3-run deficit and win the game in extras when everybody thought it was over. So this Padres team right now is playing like the Padres team that we have wanted them to play like all season long. And when you're getting performances like Kyle Higashioka, like Jurickson Profar, like Manny Machado, this team is dangerous when those guys are going. And like Chris said just maybe 5-10 minutes ago, removing 4 superstars from a team and having the team still win shows a lot about that team. But it also shows how A.J. Preller has set this team up to have depth and to be able to weather the storm when some of these guys go out. And I know that Adam Major may not be the answer right now. He could be the answer down the road. But right now, the Padres are playing the baseball that I think the rest of the league was hoping that they would never find this season. Because last year they didn't find it. And I'm trying not to get too far ahead of myself because, again, the last time I spoke to you on that Wednesday, or that Thursday, the last time I spoke to you after a game was Wednesday against the A's when Jackson Merrill had the walk-off. They swept the A's. Everybody was feeling good, riding high, going into an East Coast road trip against a struggling Mets team, and they didn't perform. 1-5. But I think this week alone has proven to me that they're in this. They're ready to fight, and they fight every single game. It's been so long I didn't even realize I haven't even said how to join us or anything like that. So if you want to join us, you can. You can do it, obviously, on the radio. You can do it on the Odyssey app. You can also go to YouTube and watch the show and chat with everybody who's on the chat right now. We'll do a roll call in a little bit. But you can just do that by going to YouTube and searching 97.3 The Fan, Facebook 97.3 The Fan, Twitter 97.3 The Fan SD. And yes, that's all the places you can go. Zach Eady, Purdue center, player of the year, I think, the last 2 years. I always say think. Here I am going off tangent already, but with Chris and Tony always fact-checking me, I immediately say something thinking it's true, and then I get scared that it's not true. But anyway, Zach Edey is going to be a Memphis Grizzly. So there you go. He was the 9th overall pick in the draft. So Zach Edey goes there. Anyway, back to the Padres. We're going to get to what happened last night because that was crazy and that was fun. And that's what everybody else has been asking for all year is to see a little fight in this team. And that's what I saw this week that I think sets it apart from the other weeks is they were not going to roll over. And not that they have rolled over in the past, but it seems like the Padres have been passive in the past when they're presented with a situation where they may need to defend themselves. But there was no way. I mean, Keibert Ruiz.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
I don't know what that was. I mean, Jesse and Tony were talking about on the radio when I was driving home last night. And it makes all the sense in the world. But your catcher starting stuff with a opposing player, and Mackenzie Gore just has to stand there. Now we go into what Mackenzie Gore did, which is intentionally hit Jurickson Profar in the shin, which I didn't think was intentional at the time, but then Davey Martinez said it was intentional. And he even said we've already played the clip on the show, maybe I'll bring it back later, but Davey Martinez said in the post-game presser, we aren't going to tolerate that. I don't know what you're trying to say you're tolerating because you won't tolerate is the wrong word. A guy celebrating after walking it off. I mean, I can kind of sort of see what he's doing here. He's got a young team. He's trying to tell his team that we are going to be a team with an edge and we will not be pushed around. And that message to the team is a pretty good one, but in the right circumstances. You can't send a message after you lost the game the night before and be mad at Jurickson Profar for celebrating a win. You can't. I like Davey Martinez. I do. I think he's fiery. He's feisty. He's obviously a good manager, but a very wrong time to do this. And he's also maybe possibly taking the brunt of the heat for his team, but that whole thing for the Nationals yesterday, that was the wrong move. It awakened, one of those two words, a sleeping giant in Manny Machado, even though Manny Machado has not been sleeping as of late. Let me go and see Manny Machado's stats right now in the last couple days, or in the last couple weeks, because Manny Machado has not only started to heat up, but he is on fire right now. In the past 7 games, Manny Machado is hitting .423 with 2 home runs and 7 RBIs. Last 15 games, he's hitting .310 with 2 home runs and 8 RBIs. And then in the last 30 games, he's hit 3 home runs. So the home runs aren't there, but he has 15 RBIs, 10 walks in the last 30 games, and he's hitting .321 over those last 30 games. So Manny, we were worried about him, but I knew at some point he was going to break out of it. Overall in the season now, he's hitting .264, and he's still got plenty of time to raise that up. And Manny, I think, without even looking, I believe is a .275, .280 career hitter, so he's not too far off of his average. He's definitely way below his OPS. So the power needs to be there, but boy, oh boy, did we see the power yesterday. I'm trying to look at the chat for awoke. Wait, just woke. I woke. Yeah, woke a sleeping giant. I never said that this show was going to be an English lesson. Trust me. I am trying to learn Spanish, and I'm saying it on the radio because I want it to happen, but I'm really, really trying to learn Spanish so I could talk, obviously in San Diego, it's a great skill to have to know Spanish, but also I want to be able to, talk to some of the people within the Padres and talk to them in Spanish. So, side note, I've been watching a bunch of TV shows in Spanish so I could try to pick things up, but, I give credit to, Jurickson Profar, I think he knows 3 or 4 languages. I give credit to anyone who knows more than one language. Because that is tough. Very tough. Let's see. Junior says, get yourself a Latina, Skraby. That is pretty hilarious. Let's see. Let's do some roll call real quick because it's been a while since we've done the roll call. We got Jacob, we got Anthony, we got Castro, we got Rod, we got Trevor, we got M. McKee, we got Dee Dee, we have Maria, we have Johnny, we got Dan, Prolific is there. We have a ton of people, and I'm missing people. The Cactus Man is here. Junior is here as well. Juan is here. So I can go on and on, but thank you to everyone who is joining me, because this is a little bit overwhelming to be sure. Cactus Man says Scrappy Padres, SKRAP, as in Padres. Why? I like that. All right, let's talk about, and hello, Paul. Thank you for joining me. Let's talk about Kyle Higashioka right now, because Kyle Higashioka, we were talking about it maybe a month ago, that he needs to either get hitting or he's going to be sent down, and circumstances have changed a little bit because of Luis Campusano going on the IL. But if I'm Luis Campusano, I'm a little bit worried about my starting job. And I know that he's going to get his playing time whenever he's back, but Kyle Higashioka has kind of taken the starting job right now. And I don't know if it's the same in baseball because they play so many games, but in football, they always say you shouldn't lose your starting job to injury. But Kyle Higashioka is doing everything he can to become the official starting catcher for the San Diego Padres. And if you can have a good catcher, it benefits you in so many different ways that you just don't see, because there's not a lot of great hitting catchers. And when I went to college in San Francisco, and the Giants had Buster Posey. So I saw Buster Posey through all those years, and I saw what kind of thing he could bring to the team, what kind of different look he could bring to the team as a catcher. And I'm not saying Higashioka is Buster Posey, but what I am saying is that it completely changes your lineup when your catcher is a dangerous hitter. And in the last 15 days, Kyle Higashioka is leading baseball, or he's tied for the lead in baseball for catchers with RBIs. He's had 13 of them. He's tied for the lead in baseball over the last 15 days with home runs. Francisco Alvarez, Higashioka, Ben Rortvedt, which is the other guy he's tied with for RBIs. I honestly have never heard of Ben Rortvedt, but he seems very good. And Jose Trevino for the Yankees also has 3 home runs over the past 15 days. But when you look at what he's done, Kyle Higashioka, what he is done in the last 7 days, he is with Francisco Alvarez in the last 7 days with 3 home runs, but he has 10 RBIs to Alvarez's 5, and Kyle Higashioka is hitting .375 in the last 7 days. He has an OPS of 1.444, and I don't think that he's going to continue to hit home runs at the pace that he's been hitting home runs this year, but if he could give you like the middle ground of what he was doing before June and what he's doing now, if he can give you the middle ground, that's still going to benefit you. But right now, the Padres are certainly benefiting from a catcher who is on a hot streak right now. Kyle Higashioka, and he just seems like a good dude too. That's why it's another thing that I'm happy for him, because he was struggling there, but in the last 15 games, he's at .289, 7 home runs, 17 RBIs, .822 slugging, 3 over a 1 OPS. Jeffrey says Higgy has more catcher home runs in June than number 2 and number 3 combined. Junior says it must be so hard to pitch around our lineup lately. Yeah, definitely. I don't know what Ivan's talking about. Padres 2024 team movie is the other guys this year. I kind of like that. That is kind of hilarious, I gotta say, because it is a bunch of not no-namers, but not necessarily who we thought coming into the year was going to be producing for the Padres and winning games for the Padres. But it's been a really fun week here on 97.3 The Fan for Padres fans. Things are just so much better when they win. They went 6-1 against the Brewers, the whole homestand. They went 3-1 against the Brewers. They swept the Nationals, and now they're flying to Boston. And the Red Sox are playing some good baseball right now, so it's not going to be easy, and it never was going to be easy going to Boston. But this is going to be a good test for me to see what they're going to do after coming off of a homestand like they've had. Can they continue this? Because we've seen them struggle in the past after getting on a roll. And I personally think, and I know I've said this five separate times this year, I personally think they turned the corner last night. Because Profar, was in the middle of it all. And Profar is a smart guy to begin with because he said he didn't want to do anything because he didn't want to get kicked out because Fernando's not playing. And, there's other guys who have had injuries and the team needs him. So Profar, he's not just hitting grand slams, but he is providing the entire heartbeat for this team right now. And I want to see more Jurickson Profar raising his hand in the air as he comes around the bases. That is all of what I want to see. All right, next on the Skraby Show, we're going to do the Jurickson Profar celebration segment. We're going to go through some of his home runs throughout the year. Not some of them, all of them throughout the year. So stay right there. We're going to talk about some more Padres things and then the Daily Gripe at the end of the show. You're listening to the Skraby Show. I'm Matt Skraby on 97.3 The Fan.
Jake and Chris.
Welcome back into the Skraby Show. Matt Skraby. You can follow me on social media at Matt Skraby, MattsKraby, as in boy, Y. And yes, Skraby is a real name. I saw that in the chat earlier. Skraby is not made. Well, my official legal last name is Skraby. It is kind of sort of made up because my great-great-great-grandpa, when he came over here from Lithuania, changed it from a previous name that I will not give because I don't even really actually know how to pronounce it. But yes, he did change it to Skraby, so it is an actual legal name, and here you are listening to the Skraby Show. So I'm going to do this Jerks and Profar thing here. And again, I'm going to preface it with, I don't know how it's going to go. I'm trying to do different things on the Skraby Show, and I thank Adam Klug and Michael Valenzuela for giving me the opportunity to try new things and do new things. And instead of like just sitting here and talking about things, I want to maybe recap Jerks and Profar season in story formats. I'm a story nerd, I guess. And if you haven't, or if you don't know, I put out a whole 12-episode podcast about the 2022 Padres playoff run called 12 Games in October. And if you search that in your podcast, the number 1-2 Games in October, you can go back and you can listen to everything. So that's where I'm coming at with that, is that I love to bring to talk about things in a story format type of show, put on a show format. Anyway, I'm going to stop saying format because I keep saying format. Lots of format saying. All right. This is maybe one of my favorite sounds. Before we get into Profar, this right here is one of my favorite sounds in all sports. Ooh, I just love it when they get a good bat crack on the mic. And I was going through some of the highlights, and I heard this, and I had to tell everybody because it's awesome. Anyway, that was a Higashioka 2-run home run from earlier today. All right, let me see how this goes. Everybody out there, just buckle in because we're going to do this Jerks and Profar thing. And we're going to start with the Jerks, or not the Jerks and Profar music. It might actually be the Jerks and Profar music. Sorry, everybody. I'm here by myself, so I'm running everything. But we're going to start with some Chronicle music. Pete really wants everybody to sign Profar to an extension. Someone remind me to talk about that later because I think the Padres are kind of stuck and they kind of have to do it. Anyway, Jerks and Profar's season, I was wrong about Donovan Solano. I was definitely wrong about Jerks and Profar. I do remember saying on this show that Jerks and Profar is good for the team. I like Jerks and Profar. I said I didn't think that he was going to change the fortunes of the team as much as he really has. So I'm not afraid to say when I was wrong about something. I was very wrong about Jerks and Profar. But his first homer of the season should have told us all what he was going to become, because it was a big game-changing home run. Back on April 6th, Profar was facing Keaton Wynn in the top of the first.
Profar, switch hitter, batting left-handed, swings at the first pitch, skies it deep down the right field line. Yastrzemski is back to watch. This one is gone! A grand slam for Profar. Tucked it inside the pole down the right field line, and Jurickson's first home run of the season is a big one. 4-0 here in the first.
So there you go. Remember that? It was the first game where I felt like, I may have been wrong about Jerks and Profar. They win the game, the only run scored in the game, and the magic was just beginning. I should also note this is where we got our first real look at a dominant Michael King. He went 7 innings, gave up no runs, and only 4 hits. Profar's next home run was only 4 days later in a win over the Cubs.
First nobody out. Profar swings at the 0-1, skies it to deep right field. Suzuki is back at the porch, looking up, gonna go! Second of the inning for the Pods. Third hit of the day for Profar. Just like that, it's 7-2.
So a stat padding, win padding home run in this one, and then we go to Coors Field in the infamous Wandy Peralta game, which feels like a really, really long time ago, but Profar and the Padres were up 6-4 late in this one when he hit this.
Swings at the first pitch, hits it in the air deep down the right field line. Goodman back to watch, it's gonna go! A 2-run homer for Jurickson Profar. And a big pinwheel bat flip as he heads to first base. 8-4 San Diego in the 7th.
Oh, I love the pinwheel bat flip, but, you know, put the Padres up 8-4, as you heard Jesse say, but I think we all know the Padres gave it away and they lost 10-9. That seemed like a very, very low moment for them, but I also think that just prepared us for some low moments to come. Now with his 4th homer of the year, it's a bittersweet home run for Jurickson Profar because it tied it up in the first inning, and I'll tell you why it's bittersweet after the call.
Issue he had last year. And Profar hammers one to deep left field. Steer is back to look. Gonna go. Long home run to left for Profar. And a leadoff home run. 1-1 here in the first.
So, the bittersweetness of this one were the Padres, they were going to struggle this night against Nick Lodolo and the Reds. Lodolo ended up striking out 11. I think everybody remembers how frustrating that night was, but Profar's 4th home run nonetheless happened against Nick Lodolo. His 5th home run was a very different situation coming into the 7th inning in Arizona against the Diamondbacks. The Padres were up 3-0, so not a huge lead. And coming out of the 7th would be a big change for the Padres.
Here's the 3-2. Profar swings, hits it in the air to deep left field. Gurriel is back. He's going to watch. It's going to go. 2-run homer, Jurickson Profar. His 3rd hit of the night. And now 7-0 Padres in the top of the 7th inning.
Greasy on the chat says that he feels like he's in Star Wars, or they feel like they're in Star Wars right now. It's the Chronicle music, man. And fine, I thought Ivan McTinkleberry was a bot. I wasn't sure. People keep telling me there's a lot of bots or whatever. But there you go, Ivan. I mentioned you. You wanted a mention, you get a mention. But that home run right there would be the big change for the Padres in that one would be the 8 runs scored in the 7th. The score was 11-0 after that inning. And the game would be 13-1 final. 3 days later on May 7th, we would really get our first big taste of Jurickson Profar's magical season continuing, because the Padres and Cubs battled at Wrigley. Shota Imanaga was dealing, but Profar changed the game in a big way.
Arise at first base. 2-2 to Profar. The pitch from Imanaga. Hit in the air to left center field, trying to find the gap. This one is up and out. A home run! Profar, a line drive homer to left center field, and the Padres take a 2-1 lead.
That's how you collect data and make the adjustment when it counts. Padres getting active here in the 8th inning. 2-run shot by, guess who? Jurickson Profar.
Man, Tony sounded pumped up in that clip. I love that. I don't remember Tony being so pumped up, but he was. I still don't really know how he got down there to get that pitch. It was kind of like his walk-off from Tuesday night where he went way down there, golfed it out, but he put the Padres up in the game. However, we do know Michael Busch would walk it off for the Cubs, and the Padres would lose a heartbreaker. But again, these games feel like they were forever ago. Jurickson Profar was really close to getting the Padres a win in that one. For Profar's 7th home run of the season, it sounds like this.
Machado at first with 2 down. Padres trail by 4. First pitch swinging. Profar launches one deep to right field. This one gonna go. A 2-run homer for Profar. And just like that, this is a 5-3 game in the bottom of the 6th.
The result of those 3 games would be the big-time step back for the Padres, though. After getting swept by the Rockies at home, those were pretty complicated days. We remember some of the things that happened with Mike Schilt. We remember some of the things that happened with the media. But those, again, were forever ago, and wins make everything feel a lot better. We fast forward to May 28th when the Padres were trying to steady the ship. Matt Waldron was fooling everyone, and Profar set the tone very early in this one.
Fernando not going anywhere, and the 3-1 hit in the air to deep left center field. Chisholm is back on the warning track, right in front of the wall, leaps up over the fence. Did he make the catch? He's going to make us wait to see. And he did not. A 2-run home run. And Jazz may be hurt. Profar's 8th of the year. Padres take a 2-0 lead. Chisholm nearly made a spectacular play over the wall in left center field, but he did not.
That game would end 4-0. The Padres would feel pretty good about themselves until the next day when they lost 9-1 on getaway day. For Jurickson Profar's 9th home run of the season, he once again started the game off and set the tone early.
Go!
Oh, I just ruined it for you guys. He hits a home run.
3-2, Profar in the air, deep to right, towards the Petco porch, gonna go! Big bat flip as he gets to first base. And the Padres hit back-to-back home runs for the third time this year, the second time against Arizona, and it's 2-0 in the bottom of the first.
Padres would go on to win that one 10-3 and split the series, the 4-game series against the Diamondbacks at home, because 2 days later, Profar would then help the Padres chip away at the Diamondback lead. This is the 4th game of that series.
1-1 to Profar, hit in the air. Deep down the left field line, Gurriel over to watch. Gonna go! Lower balcony, Western Metal. Profar is 10th of the year. Padres with their second home run of the afternoon, and now a 7-3 game here in the third.
After 7 runs, though, were scored against the Padres in the top of the second, this homer will just be another stat pattern with the Diamondbacks, easy for me to say, winning 9-3. We come now to last night when things are seemingly starting to turn around. When the first inning of the game saw benches cleared, Keibert Ruiz gave Jurickson Profar all the fuel he needed because he unwisely, is that a word? Unwisely? Ruiz unwisely got into his face. We all know Profar was hit by the pitch. Manny hit a moonshot. And then the Padres hanging on to a 5-4 lead. Jurickson Profar made Petco Park explode.
Padres with a 1-run lead. They are looking for more, much more, with Jurickson Profar at the plate. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Profar hits it in the air, deep down the right field line, towards the corner. Gonna go!
The ultimate answer.
Grand slam, Jurickson Profar.
And there you go. If we were rating that and rate the radio call, I would give Jesse a 10 because he let the crowd breathe. The crowd was insane last night. And that, everybody, is the chronicles of Jurickson Profar's home runs this year. Again, let me know what you think. I'm gonna keep, I guess, adjusting it as we go along, or I'll get rid of it altogether. But again, thanks to Adam for letting me do this stuff. I'm Matt Skraby, I should say. This is the Skraby Show on 97.3 The Fan. If you wanted to make any comments, you can at Matt Skraby. You could also watch on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, search 97.3 The Fan, and we'll find it there. Also, Facebook, you can watch the show there, and on Twitter or X, 97.3 The Fan SD. 97.3 The Fan SD. I'm getting ahead of myself, everybody. I told you this a little bit earlier. We're going to head to break now. But this has the same feel to it the last time I talked to you, right after the Padres swept the A's and Jackson Merrill walked it off. But when we get back, I'm going to tell you why this flight to the East Coast is a lot different than the last flight to the East Coast. And that's all coming on 97.3 The Fan.
Quinn and Chris.
All right, so we celebrated pretty good tonight here on the Skraby Show and Gwen and Chris. Make sure you go to the YouTube if you are on the YouTube and go do the thumbs ups. I think Adam says on this the thing that plays. What am I trying to say? The commercial says smash that like button, the thumbs up button. I'm trying to get in the habit of telling everybody to do that. Just go to YouTube, type in and search 97.3 The Fan. The Daily Gripe is actually going to do with me and my shoulder, so stick around for that. It's at the end of the show. But I told you before going to break, and we also have to talk about Jerickson Profar and his contract situation, because I just put that in the notes. But the reason I think this flight to the East Coast is a lot different than it was 2 weeks ago when they flew to New York to play the Mets after sweeping the A's is because this entire homestand has been nothing but complete baseball. I mean, how many times did we see this week, and how many times alone against the Nationals did we see the Padres exhibit perfect textbook baseball, moving runners over, getting hits when they needed to? This team's approach feels a lot different, and although it's taken a while to get going, it feels a lot better to me than it has the last couple years, because they are going up they're going up there with the intention of just getting on base and moving runners over, scoring people when they need to. They're not going up there and they're not just trying to hit a home run every single time. And this year, I mean, Ha-Seong Kim has had some really, really good bunts. Tyler Wade has had some really, really good bunts. And if you don't think bunting is easy, try it, because it's very difficult. And to get a bunt where they are able to basically kill the ball on the bat so that it just falls straight down on the ground is pretty incredible. And doing that in the pressure moments that they've been doing it, this is good baseball. This is the baseball that I think we wanted for the past 3 or 4 years. We wanted the baseball that was going to be fundamental, and we wanted to see it in action. And we did see it in action on this road trip, or this homestand, I mean. The upcoming road trip is why I think the baseball that they played this week is going to bode well for them. I mean, they're on a roll right now. And also in the last 7 days, I've been really big on my last 7 days, because baseball is, when I did pre and post game before Sammy Levitt, I learned really, really quickly that baseball is all about what you are doing right now. It's like a up and down. Man, I'm coming up with some of the worst explanations today, but it's a roller coaster. There you go. It's a roller coaster where some guys are going to be hitting 500 for 2 weeks and then they hit 100 for 2 weeks or something like that. But the Padres are on the upswing right now. And if you look at the last 7 days, just at the Padres, you see that Manny Machado he's hitting .423 with 2 home runs and 7 RBIs. Jake Cronenworth is hitting .393 with 2 home runs and 4 RBIs. Jackson Merrill, we didn't even get to Jackson Merrill this show, but there are other things to get to. Jackson Merrill hitting .321 with an OPS of .916 in the last 7 days with 2 home runs and 7 RBIs. Donovan Solano, another guy I was wrong about, hitting .300 here with no home runs but 4 RBIs, and he did knocking the go-ahead RBIs yesterday. He's been very important to this team. Ha-Seong Kim, he's been up and down, but as of right now, he's up for what he's done this year. He's hitting .292. And, Luis Arraez actually is one of the lowest hitting guys on the team right now at .192. I'm not worried about it because Luis Arraez can hit. I am a little bit worried about his injury to his hand, and they alluded to that today. Mike Schilt did allude to the fact that they rested him today because A, he needed a rest day, and B, his hand is a little hurt because of the slide. I believe that was in Kansas City. I think it was in Kansas City where he kind of hurt himself on that slide. So something to keep our eye on, but I don't think Luis Arraez is going to be going anywhere. I think he'll be fine. Another thing to keep an eye on would be Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove. Joe is starting to get back into things, but the Yu Darvish news about Mike Schilt saying, not much about him, not really knowing too much about him, not really saying much about him does worry me, because it worries me We've seen this Yu Darvish thing before, and that's not me trying to trash Yu Darvish. It's just Padres need Yu Darvish. And hey, if they're able to stay afloat and go more than staying afloat and be 10 games over 500, and they can rest Yu Darvish for the end of the year, then who cares? But if they start getting to like the All-Star break, if we still haven't seen Yu Darvish by the All-Star break, that's really going to worry me a lot. I would think that that's not a very good sign. So we're going to have to pay attention close in the next 2 weeks to see if Yu Darvish is making any progress towards coming back to the starting rotation. But you still got Michael King. You still got Dylan Cease. You still have Matt Waldron. How would I ever forget the best guy in the rotation right now? So those guys are filling in very nicely. And Matt Waldron has been a revelation. Jazz Chisholm Jr. saying it was the best pitch he's ever seen in his life, that whole knuckleball that he has. There's a lot of good things to be talking about here. And that's why I think this flight to the East Coast is a lot different than the flight to the East Coast 2 weeks ago. They're on an upswing. They're feeling themselves, as Tony would like to say. They've had some walk-offs here. They've had some fireworks here. We finally got that. And I wanted to expand on what I was talking about earlier, where we finally got the emotion to boil over with the Padres. We finally got that. We've been asking for it. We've been wanting to see the pulse of this team, and we saw it yesterday, and I love it. I love it. And I really do think this is going to launch them. However, I like that word today. However, they're going to have to go to Boston, and they're going to have to take care of business. And I looked at the scheduled matchups for the Padres over the weekend. And by the way, the left-handed hitting thing, the last 2 days, they got some runs off of left-handed pitchers. So they are not so worried about the lefties as of right now. But they're not going to have to really worry about the lefties as it is against the Red Sox, because Friday night it's supposed to be Randy Vasquez. This is scheduled according to ESPN.com. Randy Vasquez against Nick Pivetta. He's a righty. He has had, a so-so season, 4-4, 4.06 ERA, 64 Ks. But the Saturday game, I think, is going to be one of the lower scoring games, because you got Michael King and you have Tanner Houck. I don't know if it's Hawk or Houck. I think it's Hawk. I'm really bad with the names. I know it's not Hawk Tua. I love that. Hawk Tua is very funny. But Tanner is, I'm just going to call him Tanner. We're best friends. He's a righty, and he's also having a really good season. He's 7-5. He's got a 2.18 ERA. He's second in baseball at that. He's got 101 strikeouts, and his whip is 0.97. So that's going to be a test. And Michael King is going to have to show up as well, because that's not going to be any easy sledding right there. Sunday, another righty, Josh Winkowski. It looks like he hasn't had much experience starting, but we're going to have to see. I think they're going to probably adjust their starting rotation a little bit, but we'll see about Sunday. Sunday, the ESPN has Matt Waldron going on Sunday. Jorge's asking, Skraby, what do you think our win-loss record will be for this away stretch? What do I think it's? Okay. I think they're going to Boston, and then they're going to Texas. Texas has not been playing great. Boston has been playing great. Padres have been playing great. This is a tough question. Red Sox, I'm not paying attention to records, but Red Sox are 43-37. So they're also building their way back up to games over 500. I will just say that I do think the Padres can beat Nick Pivetta. Like I said on Gwynn and Chris, Randy Vasquez has not been a shutdown pitcher by any stretch of the imagination. His ERA is 5.1. But he does give you starts that at least go further into the game where you're okay going into your bullpen for a little help. And you're probably even planning on using your bullpen in the second half of the game. But if you look at what Randy Vasquez did against the Brewers on Saturday, he went 5 innings. He didn't give up a run. His game against the Phillies, I'm going to throw out, because that was a bad game. The game against the A's, He went 5 innings. He only gave up 1 run, and he struck out 5. Game against the Diamondbacks, he went 6 2/3. He gave up 3 runs. They did lose this game. He struck out 3, but again, the run support really wasn't there. And then if we go back to his start against the Royals on June 1st, he went 5 innings and he gave up 3 runs. So if you throw out the Phillies game, in the last 5 starts, he's given up no more than 3 runs. And I think that's doable for the Padres. I think that's pretty darn doable. With Randy Vasquez. If he was able to hold the Red Sox to 2 or 3 runs, I think that's a win for the Padres. So I'll say they win the first game. As much as I want to see Michael King win, I'm going to have to put some losses in here somewhere. So I'm going to say the Tanner Hawk-Tua game on Saturday is going to be the loss because he's been very good. They're at home. I'm just going to go with the home team in this one. And then the last one with Winkowski and Waldron. I'm going to go with Waldron here because he's been so good, and he has also been a guy who's gone deep into games and spared that bullpen. So they're going to the Padres have 2 of their better pitchers going, so I do feel good about the Red Sox series. I'm going to say they go 2-1 against the Red Sox. No, people might think I'm crazy. I was actually on the Red Sox site, and then I saw that after the Red Sox, they go to Miami. I was like, wait a second, did I forget where they're going? But no, they're not going to Miami. They are going to play the Texas Rangers. Now, obviously no real starting matchups for pitching announced yet, but they play Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And July 4th is that Thursday. It says they're going to face Nathan Eovaldi, John Gray, and Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer may have had a good start the other day, but at the same time, I think the Padres have shown they can get him. Remember Slam Arena? John Gray has been good this year, but the Padres have plenty of experience against John Gray. And Nathan Eovaldi, he's a good pitcher, but the Rangers just have not done what people thought the Rangers were going to do. They've had a struggle of a season, and they're sitting at 37 and 43 right now. They just lost 3 to the Brewers. Baseball's so weird. They sweep the Royals, the Rangers do, and then they lose 3 to the Brewers. So that's baseball, everyone. Man, I went way too long. We have to get to the Daily Gripe. No, that's the Chronicle music.
What's annoying Skraby today? Let's find out. It's time for the Daily Gripe.
All right, Daily Gripe is about me. And, I could come in here and I could say all the stuff about how I'm tired of people blocking my parking spot. But no. My own tough guy ego is where I'm going to go with this Daily Gripe because I got surgery on my shoulder, as many of you know, and it was 2 weeks yesterday that I got the surgery. But I'm the guy who decides that he's just going to be tough. He's going to tough it out. I got to say, and I'm admitting this on the radio because it's a good step in the right direction, but my Daily Gripe today is my own tough guy ego. I'm getting older, everyone. I need to pay attention to what's going on. I need to take care of things. And this shoulder thing has been a lot harder than I thought it was going to be in regards to the pain. The rest of it's easy. Not easy, but physical therapy is good, but the pain is really bad. So my own tough guy ego is the reason that for my Daily Gripe tonight. I'm going to try and not be such a tough guy in the future. Anthony said, "Did Skraby get surgery?" I'm not sure if he's joking or not. Self-deprecating Daily Gripe? That's a first. I don't know. Is that a first? I'm pretty self-deprecating, I think. Maybe not in Daily Gripe format. But either way, my own tough guy ego, I want to get out of here with my shoulder because it really hurts everybody. I got to go home and ice it. That's what they say. I have an ice machine. Anyway, all right. Here, thank you to everyone. Here we go. Thank you to everyone for joining me tonight. I'm a little all over the place, but that's because the Padres provided me with some good stuff to talk about. Also, tomorrow night, I will be on after the Roundtable replay. The Roundtable starts at 10 a.m. live, And you can start listening to 97.3 The Fan starting with Bennett Woods at 6 a.m. Then you go into the Roundtable. Then you go to Annie and Elston. Then Gwen and Chris. Tony joins us from Boston. I will be back with you tomorrow night. Thank you to everyone. I'm going to get out of here before I get kicked out of here. Good night, everybody.
Another day, another full